Welcome back. We are back with beer and a movie. Wes is once again watched a turd. His wife hates me even more now.
Yeah, verified. I sent him a text.
And we have people with us. So we have first, because we've talked about him so much, the nefarious and notorious Bill Mulligan.
No. His name is Damn You, Bill Mulligan.
Yes, damn you, Bill Mulligan.
My cats like me, and that's all that matters.
And we have Jerry Chandler, who is responsible for the last one we watched, Winter Beast, and who kindly brought us this turd, Psycho Pike.
I didn't bring it. I put it out on the front porch.
Shat it out.
I dropped it on the front porch. You came by and stole it. It's not my fault.
More like lit it on fire and rang the doorbell.
Yeah.
I was about to say lit it on fire.
Yeah.
And it is.
So Jerry,
it survived.
how the hell did you hear about this movie? And Bill, why the hell did you immediately watch it? Because I know you. You watched this shit right away.
Because this is like a holy grail. Go, Jerry, tell the story.
Yeah, this is a film. I knew about it. I'd never seen it, but it was one of those films where you trip upon something and it's like, oh, what is this? Somebody's talking about this horror film. It made some festival rounds in, I believe, only in Canada, and they had sent screener copies out for reviews, just a handful of them. Mm-hmm. And after its initial showings, the film literally disappeared, 110% gone years ago.
That.
Yeah. And nobody knew what happened to it. And then apparently somebody went and they decided, they found one of the screener VHSs and just slapped the thing up on YouTube. And because I was like, this is the one. Well, okay, I'll stick it up on Facebook. So, maybe I'll remember to go back and look at it, later on in the week. But no, that was it. It was one of those, like, just those lost films you hear about. Nobody's ever seen it.
And
except
of course, knowing who you're friends with, you stick it on Facebook, and immediately Bill and I are going to watch this because we're masochists. And, of course, I can't suffer alone. So next thing Wes knows.
Hey, Wes, if that movie wasn't bad enough, I've got the next one for you. Here you go. Love ya.
It's like that whole Lost Movies thing kind of reminded me of Deathbed, the bed that eats.
Right.
That was another Lost one that should have stayed that way.
Yeah, the difference is
it's just a comedy routine. They don't realize it's a real movie.
God.
Yeah, and the worst thing is you have it on DVD.
No, I have it on Blu-ray.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Well, excuse me.
So, just because Jerry hit a point before we started recording that will explain why this real quick reviewer recap is as bland as it is. Basically, a group of people go out to a lake for a weekend vacation, and there are killer pike. That's really it.
And hilarity kind of ensues.
Unintentional hilarity, I think.
Yeah, you got the wacky gas station owner who's got a 6th grade education and yet is, like an idiot savant.
So this is Wes's starring role, his breakout role here.
Love you.
You're number one.
Yeah, no, really, there's not much more to add to that because, good grief, this thing is dull as dishwater. Otherwise, there's like an environmental subplot,
Yeah, it was an important. It was an important save the environment message.
Much like prophecy.
Yeah.
Bill, what's your reflection of this movie? Yeah, that's what I figured. That's the smartest thing he has said all day.
You're trying to get me. Yeah, who's going to perform the Heimlich maneuver on me over Zoom?
The mummy's back there.
Yeah.
This movie is so damn Canadian. I could put it on my pancakes. It's Canadian movies have a vibe. Now, let me just say, my daughter lives in Canada, or as I like to call it, Canada, because it irritates them. Mm-hmm. Canada is a great country. Montreal is a phenomenal city, one of my favorite places to go visit. Canadians are so nice, except when hockey games are on, and then they go the purge. Mm-hmm. They're the nicest people. It's a great place to go. If you're ever outside of, if you're ever in another country outside the United States and Canada, say you're Canadian, because they'll probably let you walk off the ship without getting killed. Mm-hmm. Nobody hates Canadians, and why should they? It's a great country. Their movies, I mean, we got Cronenberg from Canada. That's no small thing.
Yeah, but he left.
Yes, he did.
We got Shatner. He left.
Canadian horror movies just have a certain vibe to them that it's a Canadian movie. And I don't know exactly what it is. It's one of those kind of mysterious things that although you look at it and say, oh, this looks like a Canadian horror movie. Because it's American, but it's missing something, or maybe it's not missing something. Maybe it has something that's that Canadian quality. I just can't quite put my finger on it. It's like how you're watching a 70s movie when it comes on, even before you see the hairstyles and the cars. There's just something that screams 1970s. But this one is a low-budget Canadian horror movie, and woo.
I mean, a professionally done low budget. I mean, there was clearly a budget.
There was.
But the Canadian dollar is, gets you a little bit further than the American one, I guess.
Cheeseburgers can be a budget. Beer can be a budget.
Yeah. I mean, I could, like you were saying about 70s movies, I could tell that this was early 1990s just listening to the soundtrack when it first started up. Because it was
oh my God, the soundtrack. The first song it plays when I first start watching this, it's like, okay, this has been playing for an hour and a half just for this shitty song.
God, yeah.
When is this going to stop and the movie's going to start?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all custom tracks that were made for the movie, I'm guessing by the producer's cousins or something, because the songs all had something to do with the plot.
Yeah. And I feel you on the hour and a half. I mean, I wake up early in the mornings and watch a movie, because that's really the only time I have to do it. And I felt like I had gotten up at 3 a.m. So just to make sure this movie would be over by 8. That's how long it dragged. Oh, my God. And
now,
I thought I'd be in for something like with the first body coming up where the Pike ate his head.
Yeah.
And then it just goes away from there.
Yeah, I mean, you get that first kill, and they get the kill out of the way, and then 50 minutes later, you finally get some sort of movement. I'm like, I mean, I texted Jason about 45 minutes into the watch. I'm like, something does eventually happen, right? I mean,
yes, Bill gets attacked by his cat again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
attacking the killer kitty, and he gets shit spilled on him.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. What you just saw is more exciting than any of the attacks in Psycho Pike.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It was totally a hand puppet.
Although, give it credit, it's a practical effect. And if they were to make that movie now, it would all be the worst CGI you've ever seen in your life.
So
it would be a sci-fi. Yeah, it would be a sci-fi Saturday movie.
Right.
Totally.
Directed by Jim Wynorski.
Yeah.
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 I mean, the biggest action during the movie was the not Chinese guy doing something resembling Tai Chi, and the Chinese businessmen from Hong Kong doing kung fu on the freaking killer Pike, while somebody is clearly throwing like an inflatable fish in the background behind him.
And totally doing kung fu on a fish because he knows kung fu, of course, because he's Asian.
Yeah.
Well, it was the 90s.
Yeah.
But my wife was pointing out that no, these they're totally whitewashing these guys. I'm like, no, one of them looks Chinese. So I looked in the end credits. One of them was Chinese. The guy that was doing the kung fu, he was the actual Chinese actor, and the other one was, of course, Italian. The one vaguely doing the Tai Chi. So
how did they not make him play a Native American then?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's like the movie Prophecy, not the good one with Christopher Walken, the other one,
Right.
The bear movie.
Yes, the bear movie, Katagan. All of the Native Americans were played by Italians.
Right. So you look at the credits and it's like Chief Running Bear, Antonio Margaretti. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Or the movie last week where they were the whitest natives I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
Ever.
Is there am I the only one who could not make sense of the subplot? Like one of them was testing the water or some shit like that.
No. I mean, it sort of made sense. You see, the evil sawmill, owner who was the uncle of the main character, or one of the main characters, was polluting this lake, and he had his nephew who happens to be in the business of testing water and sending samples. Taking these samples and then faking the results and sending them to the EPA showing that the water is clean. Meanwhile, the dastardly uncle is, actually he's taking the samples and putting spring water in the bottles, making it look like the water is completely clear.
You followed this movie so much closer than the rest of us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like you, Jason. When you send me these turds, I actually do watch them instead of falling asleep like you do through half of them. Because I take my torture seriously, sir.
I'm sorry. Like I started saying before we recorded, after Jason watched it and was like, "Oh my God, that hurt so bad," I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't but I'm going to watch it." And I watched it, and then when we were talking about doing this, I watched it again. Then I forgot all about it.
Yeah.
But I watched it again. I have now watched this movie twice in about 10 days.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. I cannot remember 60% of the movie.
Yeah.
It's fresh in my mind because I watched it like 6 hours ago.
Yeah. But I mean, it's literally probably one of the most forgettable films.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't tell you the name of any of the characters. None of them were
the Deadly Pike.
The Deadly
Pike.
Pike.
The Deadly Pike.
No, there was Chucky T.
Oh yeah, Chucky T. Wasn't
that the guy's name? It was something T.
So something T.
Chucky T.
Yeah, that was the name the name of the shop owner who was the idiot savant.
What?
Who basically was trying to blackmail the guys because he's like, I know you've been replacing them samples with spring water.
That's the only character in the movie worth a damn.
He is.
No. If you work for a water testing facility and they send you lake water and it comes back as spring water, you ought to know something seriously wrong, because even the cleanest lake water is lake water. It's nasty and it's full of all kinds of stuff under any circumstance. But
well. Also toxic runoff from a sawmill.
Sure, and Pike pits and who knows what else. Yeah, I mean, I watched this movie. I multitask as I watch this. A movie like this is a movie you multitask while you're watching it. So there's part of you watching it, and then there's part of you doing something else, like ignore the fact that you're watching this movie. And it reminds me so much of another Canadian movie, Rock and Roll Nightmare, where I watched it for the second time, and I realized I had forgotten every single thing about this movie except for the ending, which is burned into my brain as the sheer brilliance that it is. But boy, not much happens. Were these drive-in movies where nobody was paying attention to the screen anyway? I mean,
this never even, like I said before, this never even made it to the drive-in. But I mean, it wasn't even that nothing was happening. It was that what was happening, it felt like you were looking at four different things at the same time. It's like you'd have moments that felt like they were out of a red-green skit. Since we're dealing with Canada, all you Canadians in Canada, red-green, you're a national hero. We know you love him, but
hey, I'll watch the Red Green Show. It was entertaining. You know,
if they don't find you handsome, find a handy. But no, there were bits in there that were like a Red Green skit as far as like the character interactions. It was like straight up. Oh, this is going to be like the beer guys in the '80s or something. And then you get into a spot that's supposed to be horror, and it's just bland as hell, where nothing actually jumps up.
It's Degrassi Junior High, the horror, quote unquote, the horror movie.
Like if Saved by the Bell did a horror movie,
it'd be Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that this morning, and talking about all this, I mean, really that one was the same way. It's like nothing happens until the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Was there at least nudity except for bare butts?
Oh, of course there was toplessness, because 90s, actually the 80s, Summer Party Massacre was 1987. This one I thought had nudity.
They had bare butts. That was it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take a little bit of ass.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't even that. It was all four of the characters skinny dipping.
Okay, yeah, I need that.
Yeah.
I remember now, and honestly, for a second, I thought they were just wearing like skin-colored suits. That's how fast it went.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Well, I mean, the quality is absolute shit because it's a VHS screener from 1993.
Yeah. I'm sure the original was pristine looking, but
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
The amazing thing is this what made this movie kind of infamous and famous was that it was pitched as a legit movie that would have starred Joan Collins. And
what?
Yeah.
Wow.
So like the little bits clues about this movie where Joan Collins was set to star in it. I believe there's some other actors of some note, and they spent real money to build a giant fish, like the shark in Jaws, and then they had a bunch of people come, like newspaper folks, to show all this, and like the shark in Jaws, it didn't work. And I don't know how many times this lesson has to be learned, that these people build, the Dino De Laurentiis King Kong, Bruce the Shark, the Pike. You build these giant animatronic monsters, and unless your first name is Stan and your last name is Winston, it's not going to work. They never work.
I don't know. The shark worked pretty well when he was at Discovery Place when I was a kid, but I think that was the shark from part 4.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think that was the original Bruce.
No, the original Bruce sank like a stone.
Oh yeah.
He was in a junkyard somewhere.
Yes, they actually found him in a junkyard somewhere, and he was like in horrible shape, and the person like took him and fully restored him.
Who wouldn't? Yeah. I'd make that my life's work. I'd take it to conventions and stuff.
No shit. Oh yeah. And I think one of y'all, I think it was Jerry or somebody, said that like this film needs to be shown to film classes.
Oh, no. I said this film needs to be shown to film classes as an example of everything they should never fucking do when making a film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, first thing you want to do is tell a fucking story. That'd be a good idea. And if you're going to be a slow burn, that's fine. Be an interesting slow burn.
And there better be a nice big firework at the end. This Pike was not gonna cut it. I mean, I'll give them credit. They did show it a lot. A lot of times when you have a bad monster, you just start using shadows and things. And they were like, by golly, people came here.
It was the hand puppet.
A psycho Pike. We're going to show them a psycho Pike. I mean, the Pike wasn't psycho. He was a Pike.
Yeah.
He was doing Pike things.
He was doing what a Pike would do if a Pike were that big, which is, you can't eat sunfish when you're that big. You got to eat something a little more substantial. And Pike are scary. Let me tell you, if you were ever like at Lake George, New York, and you dove off one of the rafts or something and came face to face with a lake pike looking at you with those big old saucer eyes, yeah, that's an experience. And of course, the illusion of being underwater makes them look gigantic, as does the other fact that they are, in fact, gigantic. They look like torpedoes. They look like barracuda.
So one character dynamic that I remember, so you had the two guys and the two girls.
Mm-hmm.
The two guys are best friends. And like one of the girls is dating the friend, but she's the ex-girlfriend of the other friend, and the other friend is not over her, but he has his new girlfriend who is a complete nymphomaniac. How that dynamic really struck me as awkward and one of those never would happen in a million years that I would, if Wes was dating the girl I just dumped and I wasn't over her, I don't know that me and my new girlfriend that I'm on the rebound with would go spend a weekend at the lake where there's all these killer fish. It made that dynamic.
I can see myself doing that. I do stupid shit like that.
Hey, you know what? You know what? Totally true story. My cousin's first wife, they were married for 10 years. My cousin's first wife broke up with his best friend. They started dating a month later. And when his best friend got a new girlfriend, yes, they went on like a couple of road trip vacations together.
So all you need is a giant pike, and it's the same damn story.
Yes, were there giant pike?
I don't think there was any nymphomania involved in that relationship, but
I mean, the nymphomania we can let slide, but if there weren't giant pike, then it doesn't count.
Yeah.
I don't know. One of the trips was to Outer Banks, so it probably involved sharks.
This is fair. I've done many a trip to the Outer Banks, and there's definitely some odd shit in those waters.
And big waves, yeah, but
big waves and lots of crab.
The other thing too, I mean, there ought to be a good payoff to all this. How do you get rid of the psycho pike? And am I wrong, or did the pike just sort of like run its head into the propeller of the boat all on its own?
I think so.
So it was like suicide.
Wes, you're like muted, dude. You're still muted.
This movie left him speechless.
I was going to cut this, but this is too funny.
I'm reading his lips. You are a fine fellow.
I am.
I dropped my headset.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are a major trucker. Huh.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand you. Your face vagina was moving, but no words were coming out.
Fuck you.
Whoa.
There we go.
His first words.
Oh, it fills the heart.
Yeah.
No, apparently my fancy microphone cut out, so we're gonna have to redo the last 20 minutes. It's fine.
Sure, totally.
Yeah, no. So anyway, no. What happened was they ran over the giant pike with that dinky ass little boat with the like 4 horsepower outboard that they had on it, and apparently that tiny ass motor ripped that giant psycho pike to shreds.
To be fair,
that was the end of the freaking killer pike.
Though, Tommy Jarvis did take out Jason Voorhees at the end of part 6 with an outboard boat motor that was really no bigger than that one. Maybe they're more dangerous than they look.
Jason is not a fish.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And this was not an undead pike, although the rest of the fish in the lake were dead for some reason. Pollution.
Yeah.
We used to go fishing in Lake Chickahominy and the Chickahominy River, and you have a lot of pike and a lot of grinnell, which is another bonefish. And I'm sorry, unless you hit one of those things with like an Ocean Master 5000 motor, you are fucking up your outboard.
Yeah.
Because they have bone plates all over them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you like they were going through that tall grass in one of the scenes, and I'm like, you're clogging that motor up. What are these idiots doing? They didn't, of course, somehow, but
city boys, fuck them. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right. Well, they're city boys and they're there to fish. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You've got your girls with you for a weekend and all you want to do is go fish?
Yeah. Except it wasn't for a weekend. It was for the entire summer.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a weekend. It was the entire summer. Yeah.
Hey, I like fishing, but that's a lot of fishing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were looking for Strange Brew.
Eh?
Oh.
Yeah, they should make a movie about a giant alligator gar. That would be scary.
Giant alligators?
Alligator gar.
Alligator gar.
Yeah.
Hey, we found this alligator gar in this keg here. We want our money back.
I did a play for my daughter's school years ago. I think she was in kindergarten or first grade.
Sweeney Todd?
That's
Godmother?
Hansel and Gretel.
Oh.
And the school was real big on like parent volunteering and whatnot. And
unfortunately, you volunteered.
Yes. And they said, do not do the grim version of Hansel and Gretel. This cannot be scary. It has to be family friendly.
Oh, a challenge.
What's the point?
So the teacher I was working with found a Canadian play script of Hansel and Gretel that was wide open to interpretation. So I basically directed if Silent Hill were the home of Hansel and Gretel. I gave like half the student body nightmares for days.
Oh shit. No, I remember that. I was at one of those performances.
Yes.
Oh shit. Yeah, that was.
What were they thinking, giving you that responsibility?
I know, right?
They didn't know me.
They never asked him to do it again.
Oh, yeah.
Enough. I don't have any idea why. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, guys. Y'all have any final thoughts on this piece of shit we all watched?
Don't. I mean, if you need something that will put you to sleep, it's great for that. If I hadn't woken up at about 2:00 today, and watched this immediately afterward, which by the way I don't recommend.
See, the thing that and I spoke on this during Winter Beast though. This movie visually looked ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you can't say that Winter Beast looked bad.
Yeah, but again, this is a VHS screener from '93. I mean,
you would still be able to tell whether or not the camera work was worth a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I talk about the way it looks, no, it's not the quality of the copy. It's everything about how it was filmed. I mean, it looks. When people like to insult some movies like this, they're like, "Oh, it looks like it was shot for TV," because you get a lot of like the headshots and the other thing.
Yeah.
There are TV directors out there who are on their second month of their career who would have looked at this and gone, "Fuck no."
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I couldn't. Sometimes I couldn't understand when I was looking at it what the person was thinking in how they were like laying out the shot and then how they edited it together, because some of it was just. It was like, okay, just wherever we can put the camera down.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Yeah, it could have been the actors themselves filming it. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, really. I mean,
I looked it up. This was a writer-director.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
You got no one to blame but himself.
It really did look like somebody went to the local Radio Shack and got a VHS camcorder.
Yeah.
And shot this thing. And just, comparison contrast between these two absolute shit circuses of movies that Jerry recommended. This time it actually wasn't Bill's fault.
Winter Beast was brought up by Bill, I believe.
Oh, don't throw me under the bus.
No, you brought up the animation, and I said, oh, dear God, what is that from? And you could have stayed silent, and you did. But Jerry, oh, no. Jerry had to tell me where it was from. That is you, sir.
Yeah. All on you, man.
So Jason, we forgot one very important thing.
What's up?
What are you drinking?
So I am drinking the Legal Remedy. Hold on. The Legal Remedy Pro Bono Vanilla Porter.
The best of what you could get. Gotcha.
Yes, it's not terrible. Now it's not their maple bacon Russian Imperial Stout.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, the Pro Bonos, they're it's pretty much their go-to.
Yeah, it's not bad. I really like it. It's a decent, not little 9% beer. Mm-hmm. Now I say little 9% because my go-to is 11, but I mean, for $13 for a 6-pack for a craft, it's not terrible. They brew it right here in Rock Hill.
Yep.
So, I like it. I think it's better off of tap, but I think any beer is better off of tap.
Yeah. What is it?
So, for me, I have the Old Hickory Brewery Event Horizon Imperial. Yes. You actually gave me this, I think, for Christmas, like 2 years ago.
I can't believe it's the same bottle.
It's the same bottle. I've been keeping it. I've been keeping it in the dark and cool spaces. I've just finally gotten around to drinking it. So yeah, I mean, it's a really good beer. I dig it. It's nice and smooth. Unlike most bourbon barrel, it's not like it doesn't like hit you over the head. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have that giant bourbon like burn. So yeah, I dig it.
So, and Jerry and Bill didn't have a beer prepped this evening, but Bill, what is your favorite beer? If you're going to drink a beer, what is your favorite?
Oh, that one you keep pushing on me, Dragon Milk.
Oh yes, I love Dragon's Milk.
That's pretty good.
I introduced Dragon's Milk to Bill actually at Dragon Con, and
yeah.
I think thanks to me, he sucked down like 4 in one night.
Fell in love, yeah.
Oh God!
And I do like what you were talking about, the bourbon barrel one. The first time I tried one of those, I was really impressed that that would make such a difference putting it in the barrel.
Well, the Dragon's Milk is a bourbon barrel, and you can really taste it.
And for Dragon's Milk, it really depends on the batch because some of them are way stronger than others. And
oh God, yes. Oh God, I think my cousin Lindsay calls it my liquor beer.
Uh-huh.
she totally slides. She's not a beer girl. I mean, when she does drink a beer, it's Coors Light, and I'm working on it. Okay, I'm working on it.
All right.
But she will totally swipe.
Could be worse. Could be Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I'll drink PBR off tap, but that's it. And that's there's only one restaurant in town that I'll do that at, and it's typically because I can't afford to buy the craft beers over and over and over again at $5 a glass.
Yeah,
5.
But when you got that 25 cents for a beer, PBR, okay.
Jerry, what's your favorite beer?
Well, when I used to drink more, I was kind of boring. I'd just always get a Guinness Stout or a Black and Tan.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
But when I could find it, when I was living in Florida in the 90s, I found a beer that was called Alimony. And the tagline under it was the bitterest brew of all. And
heard of that.
It was a strong bitter. It was one of those you wanted to have like a large meat meal with it to neutralize the impact of the bitter.
Wow.
But it was good. I actually enjoyed it.
You remember the APV on it?
Nah, it's been, like I said, it was mid-90s. I've never seen it up and around the Virginia area.
It was probably a 5% or somewhere near.
Well,
it.
Yeah. Because I can tell you, Bill, that Dragon's Milk, that's 11%, my friend.
Well, actually, I like going to the microbreweries that my town has started sprouting up, and I'm not really a beer connoisseur, but I like reading the descriptions, and then it's like wine, and I don't taste any of the things that they say about they sound like they're describing a woman, and then it's really
floral
cool
notes of honey and eucalyptus.
Yes. She's a saucy little tart, but her impudence will surprise you with hints of mint and leather. I'm like, what is that even? Hints of mint and leather, but I gotta try it. And then it's like you're drinking a V8. It's like, okay, yeah, kale for sure, carrots, tomatoes, obviously. A fool could say, and celery. But I have an educated palate. I think I can taste the bean sprout. So you're just trying this, and I don't know. After 3 or 4 sips, my tongue is paralyzed, so I'm not tasting much of anything. Then I can drink the Pabst Blue Ribbon and not make a skunky face. But.
Dude, the way you go after the cake at con, I'm surprised you can taste any damn thing. Bill is a cake whore. Now, keeping in mind, when I say cake, I don't mean like, ooh, Jenny's having a birthday. No, I'm talking boozy cake.
Jenny got a gun.
Yeah, this man will hit a boozy cake. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
rum cake, man.
Dude,
rum cake.
No, not rum cake. I mean, the shit in this cake is real.
Yeah.
Like, I had a sliver of this. I was at Mysticon, and this girl walks up to me, and she's like, you want to try a piece of my boozy cake? I made it. And I don't really do sugar, so, but I don't want to, like,
insult her.
Like, well, right. So I'll take a small piece. I got inebriated off the icing. She had sauced the icing and the cake.
Yeah, I had a slab because type 2 diabetes is not the boss of me.
Yeah.
There's oh God, there's a place in Atlanta that we had something like that one year. Not what you're thinking, not Metro Diner Cafe, with the giant slices of like any other kind of cake. One of the guys that I was volunteering with went and got this cake, and for any of you out there, if you've ever seen a lot of people just call it like milk cake, because when you cut it and you take a piece up, it's literally dripping with milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can never remember how to say like Chase Lazy's or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was like that. It was like it was a chocolate cake mixed with like hard liquors, and you like your fork comes up and it's kind of like slowly dripping a little bit, and you bite into it and it's like swallowing chocolate fire.
Wow.
I mean, it's just everything goes hot as it goes down, and like one slice in and you feel like you've had 5 or 6 shots easy.
Bill's sitting there looking like he's ready to eat it. Like right now.
I'm so ready to go.
I'm gonna need me one of those. Yeah.
Dude, you're a slut. Both.
And then I lick the plate just to get all the drips that dropped out.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all joining us.
Hey, I wanted to give my final thoughts on Psycho Pike, which is
give your final thoughts.
Okay, so what the hell that London After Midnight is still missing, but this piece of crap turns up? Where is the justice in the world?
London After Midnight.
Oh yeah, the greatest lost film of all time. Lon Chaney.
Groucho Marx.
Yes, it's
Lon Chaney impersonating Groucho Marx.
No, it turns out it was Groucho Marx was impersonating Lon Chaney. Lon Chaney plays a vampire, kind of, sort of, and he walks around with that. Okay, so Groucho Marx, when he does his weird thing where he walks around waggling his cigar and wiggling his eyebrows and everything slouched over, he's imitating Lon Chaney from London After Midnight. It was a joke.
Yeah.
Now, nobody's seen this movie because the last copy was burned up in 1955 in a studio fire. Nobody's seen this movie for half a century. So if it ever does turn up, and there's a hope that someone somewhere has a copy sitting around somewhere that they don't know about, people are going to laugh their asses off to watch this vampire walking like Groucho Marx, because now the joke has been completely flipped.
That's hilarious.
But it's probably considered the greatest lost film of all time. Certainly the most sought after.
Yeah.
Psycho Pike was a close second.
Yeah, instead we get fucking Psycho Pike, Jerry. All right, guys.
Hey, I could have suggested the Loch Ness Horror. God knows my podcast colleagues. God knows my podcast colleagues hated my guts that night.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I didn't. What's
Al Adamson? The Loch Ness Horror by Al
Adamson. On
YouTube?
YouTube?
I believe it is.
Yes. Matter of fact, let me tell you the best way to do it. There's 2 ways you can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
You can find the regular version, the full film, or if you at least want to be nice to your partner, you can actually find the 1980s USA Channel broadcast of Commander USA's Groovy Movies with Commander USA hosting it.
Yes!
Wow.
I miss Commander USA.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my God! I'm looking for it. Yes.
Now,
I will
Wes,
try to find it again and shoot you a link.
Wes, I'll tell you the two best ways you can kill yourself and prevent you from seeing this. One would be to take a handful of pills and a plastic bag over your head, because you want to double up on this. You don't want any accident where you might be paralyzed and forced to watch it with your eyes pried open. Oh my God!
It could be just
I'm taking notes.
So guys, until next time, we'll be drinking beer. You'll probably see Wes in the obituaries. All right, y'all, appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like. Ring the bell so you know when I put up another video. Take it easy, y'all.
Ding, ding.
Oh, dear God, I hate you.
I hate me too.